As a teacher, you have to be open-minded. You should be a learner at all times.
I'm sure the seeds that we have planted here will make it grow, and that makes it so fulfilling.
And I've heard some SSC, and especially the Gen Alpha, the younger ones, they would always tell me, I want Ms. Myrra's job.
Who didn't want the promotion to a school leadership role at first?
Oh wow.
World Teachers Day is celebrated every October 5th, so our guest for this podcast filmed in October 2024 would be, yes, teachers, but they have also all transitioned to school leadership roles. So please introduce yourselves and tell us how long you have been here at SSC and still remember your first teaching position. So who wants to start?
Let me take that spot. Okay, because I think I've been here the longest. My name is Teacher Mia, and I've been in SSC for 14 years now, since the very start. My first position would be a Kinder 2 subject teacher, actually. Yeah.
Wow, and now you're in pre-U.
Pre-university.
Amazing. From youngest lot to the oldest lot. Who wants to, are we going to go chronologically in terms of who had the next longest stint?
I think I should go
Pointing at her.
So my name is Teacher Mae Ann, and it's my 11th year here in SSC. I started as a subject teacher. I taught English in secondary 1 and primary 6 at that time. There was no secondary 2 at that time yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, interesting.
Interesting, yeah, indeed. Me next? Yes. Hi, I am Teacher Janice. I've been here in SSC for 9 years now. And my first teaching position is actually a primary 3 teacher in science, yes, and social studies.
Wow, I remember. All
A few
right.
months after Teacher Janice, I was hired. I was actually, my first day in SSC was the first day of school.
Yes, because, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm Teacher Mik. This is also my 9th school year together with Teacher Janice. My first teaching role was a P5 and P6 computer teacher.
So PE.
Computer. And I really remember back then I only had 2 classes a week. Just because the school was already full,
Okay.
late hire, so that was the open slots for me.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Well, I guess I'm next. So I'm Ms. Myrra. This is my 5th year already, and I was not high though as a teacher. When I was first hired, I became a member of the senior leadership team in IGCSE.
Alright, so I'm
Baby.
the baby. The youngest, but I don't think in age. There. So I was with SSC since 2022, but I started off as department coordinator for lower primary school, and now I'm
Head of department.
head of department for primary.
So before we break our group into 2 so that everyone gets to sit down and have a mic close to them, let's play a fun activity. So I'm going to distribute these paddles, so get one and pass. And all you have to do is answer my whatever I post, whether that's a description of you or no. Okay, so are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right. Who would rather teach class right now or do this podcast?
Teach.
Everyone was so nervous, all right, for this podcast. Okay, who didn't want the promotion to a school leadership role at first?
Oh wow.
Okay.
Mine's half.
Yes, I loved her confidence, right? Like, I still remember.
Yes.
Right? It was very reassuring, and at the time when people were anxious about additional roles, right? Yes, go
I
ahead.
remember my first leadership role was a department coordinator, right?
For which department?
UPS and LSET.
Yeah, okay.
So I
Alright.
actually cried. I actually cried, and I think I remember telling it to other teachers, my friends, and I said, can I do it? Would I be enough? Because it would be my first leadership role in a school. But then again, based on my friends' suggestions, statements that they believe in me and they would support me. So that's why I said, okay, let's do it then.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. All right, maybe later we'll dive also into, because this podcast is really about not just teaching but moving on to a even bigger responsibility in terms of education. All right? Okay. Who micromanages their team?
Huh.
All right. Okay. Okay, we ask the half. Half. Okay, go ahead, Teacher Beth.
Well, this is something that I really want to do away with, Miss Trixie. But there are really things that you need to be hands-on with.
Still.
But there are things that you can let the team handle on their own. So it's 50-50.
Yes. Yes. All right. Who is strict?
Oh, yes.
In what concept? Like,
It's so hard to answer.
I have to.
In anything.
Who is strict? This is a part of the paddle, right? Like, it's just no right or wrong. Who is strict? All right.
I'm strict.
I'm strict. I'm strict. All right. Let's ask the non-strict ones.
I'm not strict because I trust my team very well. And if I have that trust, then I don't have to, although I did mention earlier that I do micromanage, there are times that I still micromanage, but I am trying to let go of that because I trust them. So far with the quality of work that they have been showing, so there's no need for
Over time, I guess. It depends.
Yes,
who
yes,
you
over
assess,
time.
right?
For
Okay.
me, the same with Teacher Mae Ann. I would have a level of strictness in terms of quality of output, but the path that they take to get there, I'm more loose with that. And I rely more on them coming to me for questions rather than me being very rigid and following up
But
on
we
them.
do have a new term, right? Warm demander. All right. Okay. Who was an A student in high school?
Oh, no. I wasn't. Oh, wow, Teacher Beth.
Slowly.
Not me.
Wow, Teacher Beth.
That's
Let's
wow,
bow to
Teacher Beth.
Let's bow to Teacher Beth. Who was an, I don't know whether A, but like, okay, who graduated with honors in university?
Oh,
Wow, wow, Teacher Beth. What a revelation. What, Magna? Wasn't that the loudest? Wow.
But still, Teacher
We
Beth.
discovered something new, right? Okay. All right. Who would be the first to report the possibility of class suspension?
Teacher Mia. I think it's Teacher
Okay,
Mia.
I should stop clapping again, right? The director always says, stop clapping, right? We're all pointing down the side and it's nothing like teacher.
That's her.
Training.
Mia, and then she would message me right after. Miss Myrra, are you on?
Teacher Mia messages us like, calm down, Teacher Mia.
5 a.m. I remember she couldn't reach me, so she
Oh my
reached out to
gosh.
my husband.
Yeah.
The fire.
Like wake her up, because we need to call whether. So just to let everybody know, we do not like it when we have to wake up so early, monitor, look at the sky. Is it going to rain?
And in
Right?
different areas of the city as well. House
Like,
Lapu-Lapu.
is it yeah. So anyway, that was fun, Teacher Mia. All right. Who would volunteer to deliver bad news to the school president? Amongst all of you.
They volunteer me?
All right.
Sometimes
Okay.
I do feel like when they say, could you tell TS, could someone tell TS, I think it's going to be me.
Part of the
Yeah,
responsibility.
in admin, I guess it's just gonna be me. Yes.
Especially if you're dealing with people who are like other leaders or like teachers, we don't want them to feel like you're someone who's scary, unapproachable. So that's why sometimes, even though there's a little bit of, can I do this? I have to, the ethos of the team where you're not scary. I can
Yes.
approach you, I can be open. So that's why I have to
yes.
do that for the team also.
Okay. I'm not scary. I don't. All right. Who finds it easier to manage people than paperwork?
Finds it easier to manage people.
So you would. I like that answer. Depends. Again, this is a that's me or no expounding. So.
Yeah.
I guess half and half again, right? Depends on the paperwork. All right. Whose old classmates are very surprised you ended up as a teacher than a school leader?
Not me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Me. me, right? Oh, all right. All right. If you weren't a teacher or a school leader, what would you be? All the way here. Since I'm the host, I get to say.
I love to be a physicist or an engineer. That's really my first ambition.
I don't know where else would I be. But if I were to recall that, I would be an economist.
We need an econ teacher in pre-U.
Yeah. It's okay for an econ teacher, right? Okay.
Me
The magna cum laude.
Yes.
might be a psychologist or a lawyer. But yeah.
Attorney.
For me, I think I would start a programming company.
Me,
Yeah.
lawyer maybe. Yeah, I studied law. Yeah. Yes, I did.
I would be a forensic psychologist. Yes.
So you love CSI, Criminal Minds, those shows, yes. All right. So I'm now joined by our heads of departments. So we have Teacher Mia, who is the head of our pre-university, or what people may refer to as senior high. And then Teacher Beth is for primary school, or grades 1 to 6. And then we've got Teacher Janice for secondary school, or that would be grade 7 to 10. All right. So my first question would be, there's this age-old adage that says we teach based on how we were taught. So I'm curious to know whether that applies, and if it does, how does this apply to you? So who wants to start?
I can start. So when you had mentioned the question, the first person that popped into my head was my university class advisor, Miss Henera. We called her Miss G. All right. So she was very strict. She knew her stuff. I mean, the blackboard then, guys, not whiteboard. Blackboard then would be filled with so much. But when it was outside the classroom, she knew what each and everyone was going through. Wow. So she would even tap into our friend groups if she sees someone who's in trouble or needed some guidance. So she was that to us. She was both strict, but yet somebody that we can rely on. So when I was thinking that if ever I become a teacher, I want to be just like that. I want to be, yes, I am strict. I want to be knowledgeable of my subject or my course or whatever I need to do at the workplace, but at the same time I also wanted to be that person that can be there for her people. So I hope I'm able to achieve that.
Wow, you are.
Yeah,
You are,
yes.
Teacher
Agree,
Mia.
agree, definitely.
Anybody similar?
I started schooling at 3 years old.
That's why
In
she's
a
magna
daycare.
All those years.
In a daycare. So same thing, Teacher Mia. Like the first ones that came to my mind really were my teachers there, who were really nice and kind, and that's how I viewed teachers. From the start, I wanted to be a teacher, just like them. And then since I started as a preschool teacher, I was that like the nice and kind and helpful teacher there. But eventually, when I started handling early years, grades 1, 2, 3, you have to have a certain level of strictness for the kids, to let them follow the rules and all that. But I do want to be that nice and kind teacher still. So I do the same thing, like during snack breaks or even during what we call check-in or check-out. I would really mingle with them, talk to the play games with them, things like that.
Print coloring pages for them.
And put it on
True,
your
true.
office.
Yes, there. all
Yeah, the
there.
same thing as what they've said. I remember also my teacher, my physics teacher, Miss Dimbas. So actually, physics is very hard, and but with her, I find it very easy. She's able to explain to me properly and then allow me to really explore different solutions that's not even in the textbook. I remember the most when I became the junior teacher, and she said, okay, your solution is really good and it's not even in the book. Can you please explain to your classmates? So when I became a teacher, I see to it that I'm also very open to my kids, especially in teaching science and math, that they're able to explore, discover, and when they fail, I'm just there to guide. So that's always my dream, to be a teacher that is open-minded and just really a facilitator of learning.
And the amazing magic that teachers can do, where they can explain it, where the kids understand it better.
Yes.
So, you should let Miss G and Miss D, I could not. And would you have one?
Mom Cherry.
Yes, watch this podcast as your toast to how they have inspired. I mean, with those teachers of yours, we're so blessed to have the three of you.
Yes.
Any changes you've noticed in the past decade in terms of teachers?
For me, I see the eagerness to learn. Despite, in our digital information age, they have a vast resource of activities, plans, games, whatnot. But I still see the creativity and the flexibility that they have to be able to teach and manage the young learners that they're handling.
Compared to before, you think like the skill of teaching is, how do I say this? Like it's set, but now with teachers, because the world is changing so fast, so it's a constant change, and they have to be willing to keep changing, right? Like before, like you go to a certain profession, that's it. You get what I mean? Not 10 years ago, but maybe more in the past, that it seems like, you're saying you don't have to relearn,
Yes.
right? You don't have to relearn. You don't have to go back to school. But now it seems like it's a constant
Every day is a
relearning,
learning.
de-learning.
Yes.
All right. Anybody wants to add any changes you've seen?
So I've noticed that teachers have more ownership of their profession. I see more pride and confidence in doing what they are doing. So especially being here in SSC, how we carried ourselves back then and how teachers carry themselves now, I see that, the confidence, and I see more love, and they put more value into the profession as well. Yeah.
So how do you lead in today's world, 2024?
I think it takes a lot of collaboration nowadays. Unlike before, where school leaders should be seen as they know it all, they should lead it. But right now, it's more top down. Now it's like side to side. Now there's more collaboration. But then we have to make it to a point that we have actionable items after that collaborative meeting. And there's more openness, especially in the pre-university department, where it's different subject groups and different professions, and they're all experts in their field. So it takes a lot of that collaboration. And it's not just amongst the teachers, but it includes the pupils as well. So
Do you prefer leading in today's world or a decade ago?
today,
I was not yet in the decade.
Oh, come on.
I'm just joking. But you have to give them the opportunity to grow and be leaders as well. So just like in my leadership style, if they fail, I'm just there to guide them, like a mother loves their children. I see to it, most especially, it's really the core values that's non-negotiable. I have to guide them that discipline, that humility, that honesty, that growth mindset should be there at all times. And that's one gift that I could give to them, especially when I lead. That's such a worthwhile experience for me as a leader.
So Teacher Janice mentioned values, and I think that's one of the bigger challenges nowadays being a school leader.
That's true.
Because, there are many truths. They speak about many truths. And as school leaders, more than ever, we have to be the adult in the room. And certain decisions are hard, but we need to make them, and it's for the benefit of the kids.
True.
We went through a pandemic, but we are grateful for the silver lining it brought us. Want to expound on that?
So the 2019. Well, personally, it wasn't an awesome year as a school leader. Too many parent concerns. And at that time, we didn't have restorative practice yet, right, in place for pastoral care.
Yes.
It was white slip after white slip, pink slip after pink slip. That was the approach. So the pandemic really allowed us to pause, really. And I think reflection was a big thing for us during the pandemic, and it brought to light what really matters the most. We were so focused on
Productivity.
yes, things like that, and so it allowed us to take a step back, reevaluate where do we want to go as a school. And one of the things also that the pandemic brought to light was the frontliners in the school, which were the teachers. And
Imagine to go online
Yeah.
and for everyone to see behind every screen at home, right?
Unbelievable
Yes.
collaboration.
Yes.
Yes.
Tough one.
and doing
Yeah.
it all online.
All online.
So there is gratitude for the
Yes.
pandemic. There is appreciation that we got to go through that.
I'm also very grateful for that time, since I believe that is a time that we also come as one family.
Yes.
Even our families are brought together because of the pandemic. And as a school, we learn our strengths, we learn our weaknesses, but we overcome through helping each other.
Yes.
It's really a time of for me, that's one of the best time, though it's pandemic, one of the best time of SSC, because
Wow.
we were able to
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
stood
I agree.
stood
Yeah.
up and be one family that time.
I mean, I really cannot imagine where I will be, for example, because my schedule and the way I was doing things was already at fever pitch. I don't know how much more I could sustain that, right? So yeah. I don't know if other teachers share the same, but definitely in our context, it was such a silver lining. And Beth, when you came in, we already learned our lessons, and so you got version 2 a little bit better, because before we were like always on, right? Speaking about always on, do you feel the pressure as a school leader to be always on, given that you have a team that, or even kids watching you?
Given the role, yes, the pressure is really there. But one good thing, being in SSC, I've learned to turn it off when I feel that I can set it aside for a while. Okay, this doesn't have to be answered now. So I answer it. Before it was like on all the time, alarms beeping all the time. But here, something I'm grateful for really in SSC is that ability to be able to determine, okay, this one's for later, this can be off, this can be something I can attend.
Yeah, same for me. I don't have to be always on because I know I have a team that I could rely on. I thank XCOM, I thank our SLT leaders, because I don't have to be on always. But as a leader again, my answer is still yes often. It is because I still want to be on for their guidance and for their inspiration. If they see my energy, I know that I could transcend
That
them.
energy, right? Because there are days we don't have energy, but still you have to show you have energy because they feed off your
Yes,
energy.
agree.
So when it comes to that, when you don't have energy, what happens?
Well, we have in our XCOM, right? If I'm 70%, you get my
30%.
you make it, yes, you get my
right?
30%.
Yeah.
That is my
It's really
assurance,
the community
security.
support,
True.
right?
I was
Right.
going to say coffee.
Coffee, right? Maybe I'm the elder, so a different generation, and yeah, I have moments where I can't get out of bed, right? But I have to, right? And still that again, that baby boomer, and I'm sure the baby boomers will agree. Like you have to set aside whatever your emotions are and just do it,
Correct.
right? So which is not anymore expected so much these days with the other generations, but just to give yourself some self-love and say like, hey, I can, but I hardly really do, even though I feel that way. I just built that way. You get what I mean?
True.
Right, just built that way. So, Teacher Mae?
I think it's unique for me because I'm in a new department, starting this school year, and so I feel the pressure to always be on. At the start of the school year, it was all about safety, security. The SSCNs, they're always on my mind. Because in primary school, for example, you know that at this certain time, all the kids are in this class and everything. You know where they're going, you know it's their lunch break and everything. But for pre-university, I'm just giving a very practical example, where their timetable differs. And I'm the type who say, I can visualize that this pupil is here right now and here right now. So now I have to, I was always on and manage their schedule. They don't know where their class is. This is how we'll do it. Where is teacher Garito? So I have to be on, yes. But I'm learning to turn off some moments. And because somebody reminded me just 2 days ago, Miss Trixie, that you have your team. You're not alone. Sometimes I think I make the mistake of carrying it for the team. And they're not even asking me to carry it for them.
Correct.
It's just that I do. So now I have to say, I can turn off sometimes because I have my team. So it has to be intentional. But for right now, yes, I'm always on. I'm still learning. Yeah.
But that's understandable.
Yeah, it's new department, new learning.
All right. So how is it for your family, right? To have you as a school leader, right? My dad wasn't happy. Like, I remember like during the first few years that SSC started, like, there was resentment, like, why do you stay up so late? Things like that. And people get very protective of their family members when work takes them away so much. So I'm curious, like, how does your family take it that you're a school leader?
Actually, I have not asked that. I will ask my family. However, based on my observation, they are really trying their best also to understand me, because there are really moments that I have to sacrifice my time with them. And also, they know that I really value integrity, so I see their actions. They think first or even consult me like, Janice, Annette, they call me Annette. Is that okay? Would it affect your work? Even the principals. So I know they're trying their best.
They're very supportive.
Yes, they're supportive of me. So
Supportive.
that's why, thank you so much, guys, for
Yes.
understanding.
Yes.
Mama, Papa, I'm
Yes.
really sorry that I have to cut some time with you also. And also for Owen, this is really for you, Anak.
Yes.
Yeah, I really look at those who are married, for example, and wonder, like, are the husbands like not happy that they're with SEC, right?
You mentioned husband, so I think I'm in a unique experience because my husband got to teach
Yes.
in
Oh, yeah,
SSC.
yeah.
He was
Yeah,
a design and
Design and
technology teacher for
Yes,
secondary.
my architect Arnold.
Yeah, so he sees how we work, and it's not just me; it's all of us. Yeah. So so he sees the value we put into our role and how we take our responsibility very seriously.
Yes.
So he understands.
Yes,
that
I
side of
see
my
that
work.
in him. I see that because he was here and
Yes.
he sees the extent to how
Yes.
we work, right? And so passionate about everything, right? All right, you, Beth.
I'm more of the teacher to my niece and nephews there. But with my siblings, we're really more like, when we are at home, it's like we're equal. We're siblings here. You're not the boss of this, you're not a manager here, whatever. There. But, so it's, sometimes I get bullied or... So no school leader. Yeah.
I feel the same because I'm the youngest of 5. I have no say. Though, when it's convenient, I get to lead so many things, right?
Yes.
It's easy for us, but yeah, I get bullied too.
Yeah. Doing events, after you do the program. Okay. So you kind of, like the things you do in school,
Yes.
you kind of naturally just flow
Yes,
into it when
yes.
you're doing a similar thing,
Yes.
at home there.
But I love the humbling part where you're just a sibling, you're just a
Yes.
daughter,
Yes.
right? Like I love how they keep you on the ground that you could be so amazing, you could be a leader in school, but here you're nothing, and if I criticize you, it's all right, even though you say
Yes.
like, oh, I'm making a difference in other people's lives. At home it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. All right. So, a lot of us probably are here because we see, indeed, when I was talking about the difference we can make. How is that for you guys going? How is the fulfillment when it comes to nurturing the pupils under our tutelage?
So you had mentioned earlier that some days you don't want to be on. You have days where you just want to stay at home. But then when I think about the bigger picture, the whys behind why we do what we do here in SSC. It's fulfilling because we may not see the fruits
Now.
now.
Yes.
But you know that in a few years when the children are outside of our walls or even at the workplace, I'm sure the seeds that we have planted here will make it grow, and that makes it so fulfilling. I mean, a teacher nowadays, like what you mentioned in the community email, we're rare gems. And in a school that still puts value in values and what truly matters, then it's like we can go for it. I mean, it's really fulfilling.
I totally agree. It's really fulfilling. Like at the end of the day, you get to touch people's lives, especially our pupils. I find it even on a weekend, if they chat with me or even a visit to my office, that would make my day already. And they would tell me, Teacher Janice, would it be okay to give feedback, and then how would you guide us in this and that? So imagine that your role, and then they're able to listen to you also, and at the end of the day you will say, oh, this pupil improved already, right? And how noble profession, right?
Yeah.
Being a teacher.
And if I may add, because I have children here at SSC,
3 boys.
in 3 different departments. And I see the effects of how they are raised and educated here in SSC, and I'm like, my teachers are a part of that. I'm a part of that. Yes, and I see how they carry that with them even outside of school. What they learn and pick up.
That whole thing is just priceless.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you were asking the question, Miss Trixie, I actually had goosebumps there because I thought of the students I've worked with over the years, and I think in the group I've worked the longest as a teacher there, and I've had pupils who are in the workplace already and who are making a name for themselves here in the Philippines, abroad, there, and that gives me really a sense of fulfillment as a teacher, even if I've just been with them for a year or 2 there. And then just like what Teacher Janice said, when you see like your P1 student before who was all over the place, now can keep himself on his chair for a longer time, that's fulfillment for me, that somehow you've done something to help there, things like that. So yeah.
Happy World Teachers Day.
Yes.
Right? And speaking about education, the landscape has changed so much and continues to change. Why don't we apply that thinking routine that we have been effecting in school about education? I used to think, now I think. All right? So we've been using that thinking routine. So how would you apply that in terms of how you see education?
So I used to think that teachers know it all and have to know it all and have to be all put together. Yes. Now I think that, especially I mentioned collaboration earlier, a lot of collaboration plays a role with teachers nowadays, and I even see that in pre-university where I get to collaborate with other IB coordinators, and it feels more authentic. That I don't have to know it all right now, but then I can ask questions. Because before, if you ask a teacher a question, it has to be, you already know, you don't have to leave that room.
Yes.
Like, it has to be correct.
And the traditional viewpoint, like, you're the teacher, you don't know.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
But I see students right now, and that's gone. And I'm really even quite impressed that when we said we're going to go on this learning journey together, our kids have been able to embrace the true meaning of collaboration. And gone are those traditional mindsets about, no, you should be the one to teach me. Like, it's really, we're unpacking things together.
Yes.
And it's lovely. I like it.
Yes.
Right? I used to think.
Similarly, I used to think that teachers should know everything or know a lot. I know a lot. But now I think and I know that there's still so much more to learn.
Yes.
It's like as we discover how vast the world is, learning is also like that. That we have not even used like 50% of our brain yet, something like that. So there's still so much more to learn.
In connection to that, I also think before that I used to think that the truth that I know from the past will always be the truth. But no, no buts. Now I know that it's ever changing. So that's why as a teacher you have to be open-minded. You should be a learner at all times.
Suspend all bias.
Yes.
And really be sincere that you want to find a common ground with everyone so we can move forward. And you feel that, right? It is really real, and you cannot have an ego in this. So you cannot have an ego.
Because it will hurt sometimes. But you have that
Yes.
humility to say.
Yes, yes, and it's okay when our egos are hurt. That just shows we're human. We've got feelings. We can get slighted when our ideas are, thumbed down or whatever. But I love how we are able to always, in the end, put that aside and say, okay, because we don't feel like we are a step back because of that, but really there is that support. All right. So thank you. Wasn't that easy?
Conversation.
All right, let's move on to the next group. Now we have the second set, and just quickly, Teacher Mik is the father of technology here at SSC. Official role is that of Chief Technology Officer. Ms. Myrra is our school administrator and head of admissions. And then Teacher Mae Ann is the head of TLC, not tender loving care, but that can also be true. She takes care of teaching. She's the head of Teaching and Learning Center, which takes care of teacher training, and she also mentioned about benchmark competitions internationally. Okay, all leaders.
Yes.
How did you learn to lead? ABC, go
I
ahead.
can go first. To be honest, I didn't know that I can lead before I came to SSC. Of course, I always enjoy being with people and to be faced with different challenges. So learning how to lead, I know, is something different. How did I learn about it? Definitely, I want to say this though, by example, from Miss Trixie. I always enjoy our consult moments wherein I would always go to you when there are certain emails I don't know how to answer or situations I don't know how to face. And until now, believe it or not, I would always bring my notebooks and
Yes,
I would
you
always
do.
take down notes. And it's something that I would always look back.
I
if
wanna
am
see your
faced-
notes.
I didn't bring it. Yeah.
I love conversing with you as well because you're always interested on what's behind these decisions, for example. So I feel like an old person, Miss Myrra, when we first started, this is how, and it led to this, it led to that.
Yeah.
All right,
And
wow.
I would always refer back to those times, when I'm faced with the same situations or the same problems. And yeah, it has helped me a lot. And you would always remind us also, especially me, to stay humble. And from that humility comes the willingness to learn. And true enough, I would always enjoy our moments with XCOM wherein we would share, how we dealt with certain problems, especially with leading our team. And try my best, to see what applies also to my team. And since I am not very young, I'm not very old too, but most of my staff, the admin, they're pretty
Very young, yes.
And so what I do now is also to listen to them. What they think, their suggestions, if faced with the same, scenario, how they would deal with it. And it's working.
Yes,
out,
and you are
I'm
so well
loving it.
loved. It's your birthday in 2 days. And everyone's eager to celebrate Miss Myrra. Thank you, Miss Myrra.
you.
All right. So I apparently was a teacher for that. Okay, no handbook though. You guys had a handbook for learning to lead?
For me, I consider myself to be very much a reader who also likes to reflect. So though I did have influence like Miss Myrra, people who influenced my leadership, another big influence when it comes to my leadership are books. I can specifically point out the books of Simon Sinek to be the one that influenced me the most. Specifically his book Leaders Eat Last, where he told me that
Leaders eat last.
leaders eat last.
Yes.
So it's very much based on how military lead other people, how they can even encourage them to take risks. in the battlefield. So it's that same concept that I follow, where concepts like autonomy is very important to me as a leader. Concepts like purpose. So I always have to let my team understand why they have to do certain things. And another important principle I follow from the books I read is mastery. So I always make sure my team feels like they're growing through the process, that every school year is not the same for them, because it can be a cycle sometimes. But I made sure that there's always a new skill that they have to learn, no matter how long they have been under me in the department.
Leaders eat last. Does he ever touch on that saying also that it can be lonely at the top as a leader? Does he?
Yeah, he touches on that. But he mentions also about the motivation of the leader, right? Why do you want to lead? And he also mentions it's not for everyone. But what I like about it is, and where I resonate is, I find joy in seeing how my people grow.
Nice. Mae Ann, you want to add?
For me, it would be a mix of observation, experience, because before I got here to SSC, I was already in the leadership team as well. And then, yes, observation with previous department heads, mentors, and then a mixed fare of trial and error. Yeah.
Nice. That works, right? And trial and error means the next year it may work and it may not work, and but then again you get the hang of it, right?
Yeah, a lot of things to learn, relearn, and unlearn.
Learn, right? Yes.
Cycle
How
goes
you
on.
adapt to the people that's under you.
Correct,
That
correct.
always changes how you
Yes.
lead them.
I know it's not, getting old is, not very welcoming to most people, but it's really that wisdom, and it speaks of leadership as well. You kind of can spot the situation already and recognize what is the concern, what is the issue, and would know through your bank of experience, leadership experience, know what may be the next best course of action. All right. Okay, just simply, what do you like most about your leadership role, and what do you dislike the most? You can answer both, or you can answer which one you prefer.
Okay, I can start. There's a lot of things to love about my job. Well, it's the sense of purpose that it brings, because the kind of work that they have, it makes a difference and creates a lasting impact also to our teachers and students. There's also growth opportunities, especially in teacher training, and then the benchmark assessments, the tournaments that we participate in. What else? So, sense of purpose, growth opportunities, collaboration, not just with our stakeholders, but also with even outside the community, outside
to meet
SSC.
people, yeah.
There's also the work environment that we foster here. It's positive and dynamic workplace. What else? Work environment, the variety of tasks is endless in TLC.
Yeah.
So it's not limited to teacher training. We get to soon.
They became a travel agency because of the things they have to book when we have international competitions, right?
Yes, but that's not just it. It's also the skills that we are also learning or improving ourselves. And then there's also autonomy teacher make.
Yes.
We get to decide our own and then
You
take
like that part?
ownership.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
We get to take ownership of our work. And of course, what's very important for us is the work-life balance. So I get to balance the flexibility of the schedule. I'm able to balance my work professionally and then also with my personal life as well. So I would skip your question about things that I dislike most, because I have those 7 things that I mentioned earlier. So there's nothing to dislike about my job.
Wow. She's fresh off a 1-week vacation.
Yes.
Her answers
so
are very
refreshed.
fresh.
Yes.
Well, I'm about to wilt for this week working 6 days because of events.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
Yeah, it was a
good
good break.
timing
Yes.
to feel, wow, that was like a lot, like wonderful. Okay, keep going.
I wanna because I also resonate with Teacher Mae Ann. Ever since the first time I became a leader, I love the autonomy that I have in my field.
Some
I
people
think
are scared of that,
I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially
Right.
because stuff told me when I got in that you're not that strong in terms of technology and managing it. So I realized that it blended a bit well because I love the autonomy in terms of
I couldn't micromanage him.
yes, of all the teams. I felt that on year one.
Yes.
And what I love most about the team, and I think it becomes also my character aligned with technology, is I love improving things. I love seeing something that works, but seeing how I can make it better the next year.
What's the Japanese term again? Like
Yeah, the term is
1%?
Kaizen.
Kaizen, yeah.
And it just means continual improvement. So that's really a philosophy I have in my life. And I love how that philosophy aligns with technology and how it just resonates so much that, hey, the more technology gets better in school, the more I can help the lives of the teachers, of the staff.
Exactly.
So that's what I love the most. The part that I feel most challenged with, and I think there's a bit of contrast, but I'm also scared of trying something new in the sense that where could the failure happen along
So
the way?
scared that you might not deliver on.
Scared that
yeah.
I might not deliver on time. Scared that there might be a angle that I did not look into. Then the effects of that is beyond what I thought of. So I can imagine like presenting something. Then hey, it's so nice. But once we've experienced it, there were some bumps along the way. I think you can think of some
Yes.
that we've had. And I'm like, why didn't I see that beforehand? So
Because you really do have autonomy to make major decisions.
yes.
Right? Okay.
So that's the scary part for me.
Nice.
Mine
Alright.
is very different though. Being the school administrator, I think what I love about my job is being to deal with different kinds of people. From school president, which requires so much precision, all the way to the kuyas, which I have to forgo sometimes of what I think, Yeah, just to be one with them and for
Yes,
them for them to
relatable, yeah.
realize that I am also
Human.
understanding
Yeah,
them and human as
alright.
I am. But there is one thing I dislike about my job, being the head of admissions.
What?
And that is to turn down applicants for admissions.
Oh, yeah.
It is tough because I send it to the parents and I'm always worried how it will be
Yes,
delivered to the
yes,
kids
yes.
and how it affects
Yes.
them. And believe it or not,
Yeah.
until now, I am on my fifth year. I
Yes.
send turn down email at the end of the day in the afternoon. I pray before
Yeah.
I click the
Wow.
send button.
I asked this same question, and I'm curious because we don't get to talk about this or we haven't discussed this. But how does your family take in having a school leader in the family? Like, how do they adjust? What are sacrifices or benefits, if ever? You are always here. I always worry about Ms. Myrra being the first to come to school, and then in the afternoon, even at 5, everyone has left. She's still here, and she is a mother of 10. I'm just kidding.
No.
She's a mother of 3, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do it, Miss Myrra? I'm glad you don't bring home work. I remember you saying
Yes,
that's
I
not you.
try not to,
Uh-huh.
and that's one thing that I appreciate about my work. I guess it's really an advantage to have a husband who works here too. I don't need to explain much because he understands, and I felt like he is like me, he has so much, not only dedication, the love. It's always a common denominator between the two of us, the love of the work. I don't look at the SSC as merely a workplace, but a second home now. And I was able to deliver it to Mark as well. And he understands it. And so, but also an advantage because while he's waiting for me, he's doing his work. Yes. So, yeah, that's something nice. I think the adjustment would be there are certain things that I can't just tell him. How I wish, I can tell him
Yes,
everything.
yes,
He
yes.
has always been a crying
Yes.
shoulder and everything. But there are also certain things that I just can't.
We should
you
have
know?
another podcast about people who are married and working together,
Yes.
right? And you will be in that podcast again,
Yeah,
right?
even
Right.
Gigi, Goodwill Games.
Goodwill
also.
Games, right? You can't
What are we
spill.
going to do? And I
Uh-huh.
said, well,
I can't tell
you
you.
will know it when
Yeah,
that day
I can't tell you.
comes,
Wow,
know.
amazing.
But I'm pretty sure,
Uh-huh.
and he would always tell me that he's so proud of me and also the girls.
So this is really to celebrate how your families. So it's not just recognizing you, but also the support
Yes,
system. Because
exactly.
without them, there wouldn't be you.
Exactly,
Right,
I
and we
totally
don't
agree.
we don't want to discount that
Yeah.
at all. All right, Teacher Mae Ann.
Yes, for my family, that would be a mix of pride and understanding also, Ms. Myrra. The setup of my family right now, although my father is not currently here in Cebu, it's just my mom, but then they understand my busy schedule. But I also like that the school understands me when it comes to family. I can let go of work. Well, of course, everything else has to be taken care of, but yes, I am very confident that I can leave work and then be with my family. While there are challenges between balancing work and family time, I see that my parents, my sibling, also admires and respect the sense of purpose and fulfillment that I get from my role. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. You guys tackle 3 different departments. There would be specific topics. Let's start with Teacher Mik. Mik, AI in education. So, what can you just expound? AI and education, right?
So, when everybody's talking about AI in education, the focus has always been generative AI. Because AI has been around for quite a while. It's generative AI that's quite new. And I remember you were the first one who introduced me to ChatGPT.
I know!
Mik, look into this news. I looked into it. I saw its impact. But not only that, I knew I had to take a more direct approach when it comes to it, because I started to see fear in some teachers and even in some leaders when it comes to AI.
Yes. Like, how do we
navigate?
academic reports now? Like,
Yes. So what I started to look for a narrative and a position, and I really started to see AI more as a tool.
Yes.
And what I told the leaders, and even when we were discussing, is this is not the first time technology has disruptive education.
Yeah.
There have been many disruptions, and the one that I always refer to when it comes to AI is it's like math teachers when the calculator was invented.
Yes.
Everybody thought there's nothing you could teach anymore. The calculator can do everything.
Yes.
But the moment you saw it as a tool, you get to see that me as a human, I can do more, because technology took away some of the thinking. I can focus on other parts. So that's how we see generative AI now, and that's what I've been telling the teachers, that we have to see this as a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for bad things, right? It can be used to discount thinking, but it can be used also to enhance thinking, to make us more minded and to get information faster and to analyze.
I love how you said this, not discount thinking, but
Yes.
push thinking even
higher.
further. For teaching and learning, what's our passion project these days?
Well, with our school shout out for this school year, I'm more passionate about the cultures of thinking. After having attended Ron Richards' Cultures of Thinking workshop, so it made me think that I could be more helpful with our students on how to think deeply, critically, because everything is just in their hands with a simple click, and they don't have enough time to really think well. And then also empowering our teachers with tools like making thinking visible in the classroom.
Because AI is gonna take over the thinking, right, of humans.
to
So
balance that.
how do we navigate
Right.
that forthcoming reality, right? So yes, it's been a wonderful journey so far, because everybody from the teachers, the pupils, and also the parents are embracing the shout out of becoming, thinkers in action. And I love how in your last event, or in-service day, you were able to organize everyone to demonstrate the thinking routines that they have been doing in the classroom. So any plans, for example, of sharing perhaps what your department's expertise is to people who might be interested to do workshops? I think we've talked about perhaps sharing this with people who might be interested, right? Any teaching organization out there, like, is that in
There was a plan before,
Oo.
but then somehow due to the conflict of the schedule,
It's always scheduled,
yes.
yeah. Availability,
so,
yeah.
especially to the schools, to public schools.
Yeah.
Yes, we have plans, like we don't want to limit ourselves just here in SSC, but for us to be able to share our
Yes.
knowledge.
Yeah.
We don't want to be stagnant. We can also
Yeah,
other schools.
we want to be a contributor to the community. All right.
Yes.
So, to anybody watching who might be interested, we've got a couple of workshops that we probably can already conduct for other educators as well. And again, a lot of our team members are very eager to volunteer their time for that. And I believe that you are in the process of getting some certification for educational credits. Is that how you call it? Yeah, credits for this. So
to be a
CPD provider. So so the future is open for that aspect. So the way we run our educational institution is that it's not just for us, but really we want to have that effect on others as well, because education should be for everyone, right? It shouldn't just be for a privileged few. Myrra, we've had this thing, like, when we cancel classes, like I would see in the newspapers, government says shift to hybrid or online or modular, and Ms. Myrra like, but we don't have that. We don't have that. So what's your take about hybrid learning wherein, if there's no classes, we will have to do online, because that's not something we have actually applied after we stopped distance learning when campuses reopened after the pandemic. We really stuck to face-to-face, right? Except for PU, because we're training them. Oh no, we're giving that time not to commute, so that way they also have downtime to do their deliverables. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, as an educator for 17 years, well, I still consider myself as an educator right now. I'm quite surprised how other schools are actually still doing hybrid, and I've heard some are even gearing towards having more online classes. I mean, when I first was hired by SSC, I started actually during the pandemic.
Yes.
And I saw the big difference between the online and the face-to-face classes that we are having now. And I can really see that the interaction is really different. Face-to-face classes, it's always, it is very important still for our students. I guess it's not more of the academics, but it's really more of, building that relationship with others, which I think online platform would never be able to do.
Right. Well, yeah. So far, that's, I think, where we look at it.
Yeah.
Though we're always open to understand. I mean, I hope there will be, the time will not come again that we have to close campuses again. All right. So, when I ask our kids, like, oh, would you like my job one day? And they would often say no, because it's so hard, right? So I actually have purposely made it look cooler, funner, that way, because I want to inspire them to take on major leadership roles in the future. So how has it been for you guys, whether it's your own children or the kids here at SC? How have you been able to kind of inspire the future leaders of this world?
Well, yeah, my own kids, and I've heard some SSC, and especially the Gen Alpha, the younger ones, they would always tell me, I want Miss Myrra's job.
Oh,
because she
nice.
tells the queers and others what to do.
They want to be the boss. All right,
Yes.
really?
Yeah, so I'm very much aware of that. So when I go around and talk to the kuyas, for example, I mean, it's always fun to be with the kuyas. It's really, it always makes my day. But also to be mindful all the time that, I'm also being a good model to everyone.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, I think.
Oh, so you get a different response. Maybe they
Yes.
see me in stressful moments, right?
Yeah,
so,
maybe because I'm always smiling. They told me that too. Miss Myrra, you always smile.
And that's really wonderful, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to, statistics show that youth leadership is on the decline,
Yeah,
right?
but
So
I
you
guess
want
it's
to,
more of also
you want to
really-
be able to inspire, to show them like, hey, you should. Our
when
job's
you,
amazing, guys.
Yes, and when you love your job, it comes out
Yes,
naturally.
yes,
And
yes.
that's where I am at right now. I really love my
So
job.
Mary and
Mary especially.
yeah, she's
would
gonna
always
rule
tell
SSC one day,
everyone.
right?
And she loves how everyone would call her Miss Mary. She
Oh.
loves it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mik, Mae Ann?
My case, since I work behind the scenes, so I think it's more of maybe kids may not be with me most time, or teachers may not be working closely with me frequently. So working behind the scenes, it's mostly creating or lasting impact among these teachers and students. So for me, I take pride in bringing out the best of our stakeholders as well. So I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, that works for me.
Even I love this question also because one of the measures for me of a good leader is always how much other leaders you can raise up. So that's why I'm very intentional, even in just my team, that even though I'm the only leader by position, that they can lead in other small areas themselves. And I even tell my team sometimes that, I'm not sure if you're still with me for the next 20 years, 15 years down the line, but I want your experience here in school to be that the moment you leave, you can say you're a better person because you were under me. Or at least that's one of the factors. So that has always been a goal in how I lead the team. And now that I'm starting to get more exposure again to pupils, one of the stories I tell them is the joys of problem solving. And I really sometimes walk them through the process that, hey, there used to be this problem, now that problem doesn't exist, right? Your lives are better. And that's because there was me with my team willing to tackle a problem. And I think when you say that youth leadership's on the decline, one of the ways I try to combat that is to show them the joys of being a leader. And there's so much joy in knowing that your work made somebody else's lives better. And I brag about it to them. And I hope, and there's really a few people who went to me that, wow, I really want to do something like that in the future. When I used to teach computer science, I even tell them that you're not just here to learn how to code and get rich. You're here because you have the capacity to now solve problems and make other people's lives better. And that's something that pupils, even after they're already gone to university, that's one of the things that Teacher Mae, I can't forget you said that. And that's I think one of the ways I see it is they're scared of being a leader because they define leadership as like Mark Zuckerberg. Like it becomes this big concept that, hey, how can I become like that? So sometimes I feel like my role is to tone down leadership into something that, hey, I can do that, I can attain that.
Actually, we are a leader to our own self,
That's
right?
true, yes.
Right. So yes, sometimes they look at the part where it's too difficult,
Yes.
right? Because it really does have its share of challenges, a lot of challenges and sacrifices. But we are all here to tell you guys that it's really, really fulfilling and worth it. So while we celebrate Teachers Day this October, we also chose teachers who became school leaders to share to everybody the possibilities of even making a greater impact with the lives that you mentor.
Yes.
All right, so that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank